Y'all remember that time where Yachty said, I'm done with the podcast and I'm done with Mitch?
I ain't want to do no mother ass. I'm a motherfucking rapper.
What if I told you that he wasn't trolling and that things have been only getting worse for Mitch? He said, currently practicing my putting the fries in a bag technique. Please bring the podcast back, with a sad face emoji. He said, not gonna lie, I think bro rolling up the podcast in a backwood as we speak. But I'm sure some of y'all need some context, so I'm gonna go ahead and snap it back to the video. I'm sure everybody know who Mitch is. He could have been known for tons of different reasons. He done some producing, he done some management for Caribou and the Concrete Boys at times, but he's mostly known for being a very close friend to Lil Yachty and even having a podcast I'm sure everybody watched before called A Safe Place Podcast. And I'm not gonna go over his whole life. That's not the point of this video. But what if I told you that Lil Yachty really ended Mitch's podcast, the friendship that they had, and left them in the dust? And on top of that, Mitch even spoke about it recently. But before we get into that, August 21st, last month, when Yachty, Mitch, and Key Glock were on the podcast, right? For the story, Yachty asked a simple question. He said, yo, what do you tell a person that's potentially broke and dangerous? And the first thing that he do is pick up a weapon. And this young man feel like he got none to lose. This could be somebody that you know, it could be somebody that you just trying to give advice to. What do you tell this person? And Yachty spoke his side, Key Glock spoke his side, but once it got to Mitch and he explained his side and said, yo, I would just tell him to go find his righteous path and that he needs to get a job or something like that. And Yachty was like, hold on, how you gonna tell that person what to do? But your situation was totally different. And him and Yachty was going back and forth. They got a little heated and they got to a point where Yachty had to say, yo, you had people to guide you. You developed over years, but you had me. Without me, what would you be doing? You had a friend that was making millions, and people took that small portion of that clip and made Yachty look horrible. And maybe Yachty was a little harsh or whatever like that, or maybe it was just the argument between them two, but it got to a point where that clip only made Yachty look bad because the clip online was very out of context. Nobody really knew what they was talking about. All you really seen is that Yachty was like, hey, what would you be doing without me? And you know, people took that as Yachty having an ego. And on top of that, I'm not gonna go over this again, but Yachty was already getting bashed for the whole Caribou situation. And if you want to know more about that, go watch my other videos. I'm not gonna go over that again, but he kicked her out. So on August 22nd, the night before this man's Lil Yachty's birthday, Yachty had all social media platforms against him because of the whole Caribou situation and because people felt like he did his closest friend Mitch wrong. So he then went live. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Yachty went off on Mitch and Caribou, but he told Mitch specifically, I'm done with the podcast. I only did it to help your career. I'm a rapper. Why would I need to do a damn podcast? Then he told the people that was in his live, I had a conversation with Mitch before I hopped on live, and I asked him, I said, while I was being bashed by millions on Twitter because of a small clip that wasn't that serious of us having a small debate, why you ain't go on social media and clear my name?
I ain't with Mitch, bro. Mitch, Mitch, how the you didn't go on the internet and tell these folks that we playing, bro? That tweet got goddamn 6 million views on it.
According to Lil Yachty, Mitch replied and said, nah man, you tripping. It's just Twitter. Don't worry about it. So Yachty took offense to that. He like, my own mans don't want to stick up for me, like, and I'm being tarnished right now. So Yachty hopped on live, not only to clear his name, but he also explained why he don't mess with Mitch no more. And it's crazy because after Yachty hopped off live, Mitch then decides to clear Yachty's name, but a lot of people thought it was because he didn't want to lose his friendship. He didn't want to lose that podcast like Yachty said, you know what I'm saying? But even if they both had their issue that one of them felt betrayed by the other or whatever, you would think because they've been friends for a long time, they will eventually connect back together. You know what I'm saying? That's how bros is. Because things didn't quiet down lately. I haven't been hearing nothing about Concrete Boys. I think that might be done. You wouldn't really think that Yachty's finna switch up on his mans like that just because of a clip. But I'm gonna be real. I've went to the YouTube page of the whole podcast, right? Mitch hasn't uploaded in a month. And not only that, Mitch even had a few things to say about Yachty and the whole podcast on Twitter. Here's what he had to say. He said, currently practicing my putting the fries in a bag technique. We'll update you soon. ... And of course people thought he was trolling, so people was replying, yo, where's the podcast? What happened? You know what I'm saying? Somebody replied to him. He said, Mitch, please bring the podcast back, with a sad face emoji. He said, not gonna lie, I think bro rolling up the podcast in the backwood as we speak. Dead emoji. Somebody replied and said, make sure it's extra ketchup in there, little bro. He said, nah, I'm giving you one sauce, no ketchup. I'm a hater. This not an act, little. Then somebody asked, where you at so far? He said, killing the small fries, but the extra large is giving me problems, to be honest. Who the still orders extra large anyway? And right now you got tons of different blogs out there, social media platforms. Everybody is saying that the Lil Yachty podcast is canceled for good because he ain't even uploaded in a month anyway. And I've also haven't been seeing any of the Concrete Boys together like that. I'm seeing Gio interact with Opium more than I'm seeing her interact with any of the Concrete Boys. And this could be very damaging to Mitch because this podcast was really doing well. Mitch was was very funny, but it all took a turn so fast. And the situation just going both ways, because you got people that's still saying that Yachty's a whole loser for this. Somebody said all he had to do was defend his friend. He couldn't do that, so oh well. Someone said he legit ruined his friendship because he wanted his friends to play PR for him. Yachty's so lame for that. Why would you want an IRL friend to jump to the internet to defend you from a clip taken out of context? And I doubt this is true, but hopefully Mitch still has connections and stuff like that, because it ain't looking too good for him right now. He might be trolling about the whole putting the fries in a bag stuff, but who knows? Because I seen something on Twitter where he tried to get in contact with Yachty and get his new number, but the whole situation is just dumb. Because don't get me wrong, Yachty is a great artist, alright? I'm not knocking that, but aren't y'all getting tired of him starting and branding something and then getting rid of it? He done had 2 or 3 different groups that he tried to brand and help, and none of them worked. And even with the whole podcast thing, I thought it was a cool move to see Yachty talk more. That's just me personally, but anytime he even do it, he get trashed for his viewpoints anyway. So maybe this might be a good thing. He might have to just focus on this music. And for the people that feel bad for Mitch, because I'm sure some of y'all do, well, I'm gonna be real, you know, Mitch is a grown man. I'm sure if he works hard, he can run a podcast on his own. Yachty gave him the spark that he needed, so whatever he does after is up to him. Shouldn't be Yachty's responsibility, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm done chatting. Let me go ahead and pass it to Charcity.
Man, we've been talking about Yachty this and Caribou that. I completely forgot about my boy Mitch. Yachty basically said F this and canceled the whole podcast. Now me, I'm thinking, you know, it's just friends not seeing eye to eye. They'll be good in like a week and then they'll get the podcast started in like a week or 2. Yeah, that never happened, and it looks like it's going to continue that way because it looks like Yachty is about to just pack this whole thing up. Now everybody has seen Mitch's tweet by now, and honestly I think there's only one way to go about this. Mitch, if you really want to do the podcast, I say just start it back up and go from there, or look for another co-host. Because I'm gonna be real, whether you and Yachty are close or not anymore, Yachty is just not meant for podcasting or just talking, period. And when I say talking, I mean the stuff that he says, it never comes out right, and it always turns into something negative on the internet. We literally just watched Yachty go a whole entire month of saying stuff on podcasts or IG Live, and honestly I don't think some of the time it's his intent for it to come out that way, but it comes out a certain way anyways, and it's literally just been bringing controversy his way for the past couple of weeks. So I think Yachty should just take his own advice and stick to just being a rapper, because when he speaks, it always just turns into something that it shouldn't be. And Mitch, I'm not gonna lie, you got a lot of people that supporting you saying that you should just bring the podcast without Yachty. And I mean, if you really enjoy doing it, I say just go for it, because why not? You're probably gonna lose a portion of your fan base because, you know, some of them are Yachty fans, but it's not like you can't build this back up from the ground. You just got to put in the work. And as for Yachty and Mitch's relationship, I don't know if they worked through it already. That's something they're gonna have to do on their own. Majority of the people on the internet already feel like Yachty was in the wrong or that he was doing too much. So, but if they somehow come back together and bring back the podcast, then that's cool. But if not, that's just life. It is what it is. Ain't nothing we can do about it. That's 2 grown men. They gonna decide if they want to fix it or not. Appreciate Dutie for having me on this video, and I will see y'all in the next one.
At this point, the podcast is canceled. Yachty has deleted his friendship with him. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about Mitch. How do y'all feel about Yachty? Do y'all feel like Yachty was in the wrong? Do y'all feel like Mitch should have said something on social media while Yachty was being bashed? But make sure y'all follow my Twitch. I was just live on it recently. I might go live tonight. And make sure y'all follow my IG. I love y'all so much. Y'all stay blessed. Peace.